Have you ever heard of an elderly person declaring openly, "I am going to vote for the EFF"? If not, what could be the reason? Can we discuss about the EFF from the point of view of an elderly, ordinary citizen? My name being pgy.mashamba. You are welcomed. Sometimes what EFF tells us as citizens, it is confusing. You end up not understanding what do they really mean. They actually instill fear in the minds of people instead of promoting hope about the future of the country. They talk about issues like, for example, land grab without compensation. They never give clear guidelines to say, this is our criteria of taking the land, from who, which part of the land. So we assume to say it's going to be farms from the white commercial farmers. Is it a wise decision? Yes, we understand the history, what happened. But if you look back at Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe had a lot of white commercial farmers. And then there was a time where their farms were reallocated to black people. There are some who we hear stories to say today they are successful black farmers. But it's what percentage of the people who were given farms then? How long did it take them to be successful? Then you ask yourself as a South African, how wise is it for us to follow a system that proved to be ineffective? Because here we are talking about commercial farms that are serving the whole nation. What if the people who are going to be allocated to those farms, most of them are inexperienced when it comes to the field of farming? They hardly have a track record to say, at home in my small backyard, I managed to do gardening. When poverty reaches those high levels, like what happens in Zimbabwe, as South Africans, what is our future? Where are we going to emigrate to? Our borders, the countries along our borders, will they be able to accommodate us starting from Zimbabwe? Let's think carefully. The EFF, are you sure of what you want to implement? Another issue that the EFF is promoting is the issue of open borders. This is a worrisome aspect for the majority of citizens. Why? The present South African citizens who are living within their country, including foreigners from different countries who are already in South Africa, our government is struggling to meet all of our basic needs. Simple accommodation, it's a big challenge. You go to any city, any province, and see places that people are staying in. Those buildings in town, they are dilapidated, unhygienic. The dignity of those people it's been taken away from them because they do not have a choice. They find themselves there. The government is not succeeding in allocating them proper housing. The very South Africans, they are struggling with where to stay. They are renting in backyards of other families, other households. Joblessness, the health system, education system, you name it, it's a mess. Now, let us assume the borders are opened as per the EFF's request. And we have only 50 families, for example, that walk into our country in a particular month. Those 50 family members, householders, they'll be having their children. Maybe the final number will be 99 people or 102 people. Is the EFF telling us to say, we are going to accept them, welcome them, because we have organized accommodation for those people who will be moving into South Africa? When they are sick, where will they go? Because our clinics, our hospitals are overwhelmed. They are not coping with the present population within the country. They don't tell us those guidelines. They expect us to just accept, to say yes, they want open borders and that's the best, and then it is okay. We even think, some of the citizens, to say, maybe the EFF is assuming we don't like the foreigners, we hate them, we want them out of the country. They are forgetting to say, as citizens, those who are employed in their places of work, they are working with foreigners as well. Some of those foreigners are well documented as per the prescription of our government. Some of them, they don't have proper documentation. And some of the South Africans, you find that your neighbors include some of these foreign people. Do we fight with them? No. We coexist with them. We form friendships with them as colleagues, as neighbors. We get to listen to their stories. We ask them questions. They ask us questions. They tell us the challenges that they faced that pushed them to finally decide, I am leaving my country. I'm traveling from Ghana, from Cameroon, Nigeria, Malawi to South Africa. They'll tell you it was not an easy decision, but for their survival and the survival of people that they left at home, they had to make the sacrifice. We get to learn to understand about the challenges related to the type of government. So, why shouldn't we be afraid? Why shouldn't we be scared when they say they are going to open borders without adding to say, when we open borders, those people, when they come in through the border gate, they'll know exactly where they'll be going, because firstly, accommodation will be there for them, food will be there. That all of it is not mentioned. Then why should we understand the EFF, the intentions of the EFF? Even there are the foreigners who are in our country already. They feel embarrassed They feel the pain when they observe some of their fellow citizens, their behaviors, those who are involved in unlawful things, who are in the criminal world. It pains them the same way as it pains a South African. Remember, it doesn't mean because you are a foreigner, definitely now you are somebody who is involved in criminal activities. They are people with different skills: doctors, nurses, teachers, engineers, whatever profession you can think of. Foreigners, they've got some of them with proper documentation. So we are not underestimating them. We are just worried to say, will the country cope when it is open borders? Because EFF, you are not telling us how you are going to manage the situation. What about the image of the EFF? What are you portraying towards the nation? Remember, elderly people, they believe in being respected. You need to show integrity. You need to be authentic in order to earn their respect. Can leadership of EFF genuinely say, these are our qualities? We do not doubt ourselves. For example, the EFF is promoting itself as a party for the young ones. When they say it's a party for young people, yes, we understand the voting age starts at 18 years. What is their cut-off age to say it's for the young ones? Is it the cut-off age 30 years, 40 years? Let's assume it's 40 to 45 years. So if you are a member of an EFF, when you reach that age of 40, 45, are they saying now you have to stop your membership with the EFF and move on to a party that accepts adults now, more mature adults age-wise, from 45 years upwards to old age? Are they not cutting themselves short? The very leadership, let us assume 20 years from now, 15 years from now, age-wise, how old will they be? How relevant will they be to the young ones of those years? Remember, a 20-year-old, 20 years from now, is not yet born. People who are 5 years and less, 20 years from now, how will they be perceiving or viewing the leadership of EFF? Will they say it's a party run by young people, or will you be falling under the category of the elderly? What if now there's a new party then, 20 years from now, formed by the 30-year-olds of those years? What guarantee do you have to say the youth, the young adults, then will choose the EFF over the new young party? In any household, think carefully if you are an EFF member, especially the leadership. Whenever each family, you've got your own family gathering, what happens? The trend is you find that the children, grandchildren of those families, they are highly educated, but they've got their elderly people amongst them, their grannies, grandpas, elderly aunts and uncles. Is it not common practice to say, when you are making your decisions, the young ones, you stop and say, no, let's ask the opinion of grandpa. What does he think about this, what we are proposing? What does auntie think about our proposal? And then as the young ones, you come with the final decision, with that wisdom, information you received from the elderly. You add your own information, and then you come up with the final outcome. And you are proud of yourself to say, yes, the input of the grandpa, grandma, or auntie, uncle, the elderly, it gave us direction. So if your party is closing out the elderly people because you are promoting it as a party for young people, where do you get your wisdom? Or you are comfortable to say no, you don't need the input of elderly voters? What will make your party be sustainable in the future? As an elderly person, I like to believe, to say, it is healthy for any person, including political parties, to can admit to say, maybe we were not aware of some of the complaints or the unhappiness of the citizens, including of our own members. Maybe we are not accepting criticism. We never realize criticism can be constructive and can help the party to grow. You are human. You will make mistakes during your political journey. You do not become politically mature ever overnight. So if you realize that you have shortcomings like anybody else, then it means your party has a future. I still want to believe, to say, you need to relook some of the promises, your vision, your mission, long term. How can you make it remain relevant, sustainable? Is this an impossible task? No, it is not. Age is on your side. Admit some of the things, to say, yes, we thought we were on track, but there are things that we missed out on. When you sell out an idea to the community, be prepared to say, we first had listening meetings with the community. We spoke about what we are proposing. A community from this province, this area, this is their input, the young and old. A community from this area and that area, a different province, this is their input. And we combined all those feedbacks. And then finally, as the leadership of EFF, we are promising this based on that. Don't you think that will promote a positive image about the EFF? I also need to add this. It is not all gloom, because if you can go to the townships, the very young and the elderly people, they can point out positive things, positive outcomes related to the EFF. I'll talk about simple thing, housing. In the townships, there's this term used, a family house, whereby parents are deceased, and you find that siblings or some of the relatives, they are fighting over the ownership of that house. When it happens, people in the townships, they will advise you to say, you know what, consult EFF representatives. They will mediate, intervene, come up with the positive solutions. You've managed to save many households from being sold illegally, having some of the legal tenants or people who are supposed to own the house saved from being evicted illegally. There are a lot of things related to domestic issues where people proudly say, go to EFF representatives. You will be helped, you will be directed, you will be channeled to say, go to that department or this department. That is a positive about the party. But because the image, the fear that you instill on people, it contributes to you losing on possible voters. Even the very young ones, if we go according to the results of the last elections, you lost members. Why? It's because they are thinking. Remember, they are critical thinkers as well. They ask themselves, EFF is promising this and that and that. How realistic is it? Maybe you are pushing away those possible members due to what? Your approach, your behavior, being perceived as imposing your will on citizens. You don't go get into dialogue with citizens. There is a possibility, if you can re-strategize, replan, change how you implement, tell people about your guidelines, your criteria, whatever the feedback that the community wants to listen to, maybe that can guarantee you more voters. It is up to you as a party, as leadership, to introspect and make it work. Thank you very much for listening. Kindly comment on the comment sections. Let us share the different opinions. If you are an EFF member listening, thank you very much. Also comment, make us understand the points of view. What is it that we are assuming as being a negative, and yet it is not a negative about the EFF? Thank you very much. Bye.